any operator migrate into our platform, we've got access to their historic sportsbook margins. And as I say, we set that as an immediate objective to increase that sportsbook margin from X to Y to Z. And I regret actually that too few operators place an emphasis on this. But it's very, very important. Like a 1% increase in sportsbook margin for many operators around the world is a big difference in actual revenue.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of Connected. Today we're talking sports. We're talking sports with the authority on sports, my good friend and colleague Gareth with Pragmatic Play Sports. Gareth Crook is the Senior Vice President of Sports at Pragmatic Play. Gareth, how are you?
Ashley, good to talk to you again, and thanks for the very friendly intro. I didn't pay you to say all those nice things, right? You said them from the bottom
I haven't
of your
even
heart.
gotten started yet, but we do the road shows together, don't we? I mean, we've been at a few of the conferences. We are both part of the Pragmatic brand of companies, so in a way we see each other quite often when we're out at conferences and shows. And yeah, it's always a pleasure to share space with you. So I'm really excited to be talking with you today because Pragmatic Play for sports is rather new. I mean, I know not entirely new, but relatively new on the scene in terms of sports books on the market. It's a pretty competitive space, and I think it's, I don't know of a one-size-fits-all solution, so I think there's a lot to talk about. It's about what kind of brought Pragmatic into the sports book world, why you were the right guy for the job, and from what I know about you, I think there couldn't be better leadership for creating a great sports betting product, and I think that's something we should talk about. And then, what is the differentiator? If you're looking for a sportsbook platform, let's unpack that a bit as to what Pragmatic Play brings to the table, because I'm sure in true Pragmatic fashion, they've got some pretty high standards to live up to. But let's start at the beginning, Gareth. How did you get involved in sports betting, and how did you come to be leading the charge with Pragmatic Play with Sportsbook?
Yeah, let's kick off from the start. Like I feel very old, Ashley, when I'm asked that question, because I think I'm in my 24th year of working in sports betting. I remember my first day vividly. It was the day before 9/11. So September the 10th, 2001, I joined William Hill in retail, which was controversial for my family because I joined from the police force. So perhaps an unusual career change. I was in the Met Police and joined William Hill in retail with a view to getting into trading, to be honest. As early as the age of 8, I was introduced to the sport of horse racing by my uncle, my late uncle. And I remember vividly at the age of 14, I think it was US 94, 95, one of the World Cups when I was 14 years of age, running a book on the own schoolyard of who would score the first goal in a famous Republic of Ireland match where Ray Houghton, for the Irish listeners, will remember vividly that amazing goal. So I guess sports has always been in my blood. I'm from South Wales, where we're naturally into sports. The UK particularly are a very prominent and established sports betting market. So I think that combination of sports betting and mathematics eventually led me into the William Hill trading team. I moved up to Leeds in January 2004 and worked for Hills in their trading function for about 6 or 7 years, which I look back upon as some of the most enjoyable times of my career. So yeah, fast forward 24 years and here I am working for Pragmatic Play on the sports side.
Well, it seems like you had more of an affinity for sports than the police, and probably was the right move.
Could say that.
So ambitious and challenging, let's say, to enter the sports betting world, and Pragmatic Play certainly has the right relationships with operators to build upon and to introduce a new product, but nonetheless the product needs to be good. And you've now got some traction with Pragmatic Play Sports. I'd say some pretty impressive traction. So why don't we talk about that? How did Pragmatic Play enter the sportsbook market, and what sort of space did you focus on first to carve out and lead in?
Yeah, good question. Like ordinarily, Pragmatic Play doesn't need no introduction, right? A very well-established B2B provider, mainly of casino products, and maybe to a sports audience. Then I should explain the background behind Pragmatic Play. We're a leading B2B gaming provider. We provide multiple product verticals such as slots, live casino, where we're very well established, but also products such as bingo and virtual sports. And the purpose of this call, I guess, is to talk about Sportsbook. It's our newest product vertical. All of these products developed internally within our business, which I think is a USP in itself for the Pragmatic Play business. If I could tell you a little story, I look back to April 2022 when I attended ICE for the first time as a Pragmatic Play employee. And I think all of your listeners will have been to the ICE event at some point during their careers. Arguably the biggest event, right? Exhibition of the year anywhere. And it was the first one post-COVID. So the attendance for that show was massive. And it was notable for us because it was the first event in which we announced our intention as a business, Pragmatic Play, to launch sports. So there was lots of surprise, of course, because normally we're identified with casino products. But what hit home to me was a lot of excitement. And I really realized walking away from that show that we've got an amazing reputation on the casino side. And it was very important to our shareholders and our wider colleagues across the casino business that we deliver and launch a complex product like sports as successfully as we've done casino. I think one of the challenges for us as a sports team, apart from matching the success of the wider casino business, is to increase awareness, right? We still attend various exhibitions around the world, and I still get the feedback that some are not aware of our association with sports at all. So here we are doing things like this. Ashley, thanks for the invite. Delighted to be talking to you about our plans on sports.
Okay, great. And we have many operators come to us on the PAM platform side, beginning an RFP process to either find the right technology stack for their business or to replace a legacy technology stack in their business. That often leads to discussion around Sportsbook being in scope for that re-platforming. As you know, we have several sportsbooks integrated to the Pragmatic Solutions PAM platform, and operators are often faced with a difficult decision about differentiating one from the other. And I know, like I said at the top of this session, that there's not really one solution that fits all operators. So for an operator who's out on the market, either with a sportsbook product today and is looking to optimize their business further, or who's looking to add sports and is trying to decide between different platform options that are available to them, what would you say, they should be looking for or asking about, or maybe revising in their strategy so that they come prepared to those discussions as they look at various products? And what are they going to find with Pragmatic Play that sets it apart from the competition?
Yeah, so let me answer what you're going to find first. Normally, sportsbook operators talking to a platform provider like us are usually looking to outsource the solution in its entirety, or at least to 80% or 90% levels, right? We supply the front-end platform, which is obviously in the public eye because that's the platform used by sportsbook customers. We have a back-end trading platform, which is highly complex and nuanced and was very difficult to build, which is used by our sportsbook trading, risk management, support, content teams, but also the teams from the operators. A very powerful content management system known as a CMS, which allows us or the operator to configure sports pages in real time. And then very importantly, we offer a full range of managed services, right, which include sports trading, risk management, 24/7 support, and content management. So in summary, operators approaching Pragmatic Play Sports can fully outsource their sportsbook operation. We normally insist there is an individual sports contact within the business of the operator, and that's actually something we recommend. But otherwise, we can manage the rest, and rest assured, you'd be in very safe hands. So that's the first part of your question. In terms of what sets us, or how do we differentiate against the competition, right? I think you mentioned there in the intro, we realize we're fishing in a congested pond. There are many choices available to an operator when it comes to selecting a sportsbook provider. And like platform, Ashley, you'll know it's a big choice for the operator as well, right? Unlike casino, usually an operator chooses one sportsbook provider or one platform provider. So we respect the fact that anybody choosing to partner with Pragmatic Play Sports is placing a lot of trust in me and the wider team. So I would boil it down to three things. There's many reasons why I would encourage your listeners to consider Pragmatic Play Sports. Number one, our relationship with official data rights holders. Sports betting data or trading data or incident data, as it's known in different places, is highly problematic to understand. Like, ultimately, betting data is contracted to individual rights holders. There are many. Sportradar, Genius, Stats Perform, IMG Arena, Infront Media, just to name but a few. And one of the things we try and do during our early calls with operators is inform the operator on the importance of using official betting data where possible. This influences a lot of things which are important to the operator, but also to their customers. Metrics like market uptime, simply put, the total amount of time the event is available for betting, right through to its conclusion, bet settlement speeds, rejected bets, and price latency. So all those things were important. We aim to simplify the process for sportsbook operators when it comes to contracting and being able to access official betting data. It is complicated, yet operators partnering with us get access to all official betting data through a single contract with Pragmatic Play Sports. That's number one. Incidentally, there's an article I did recently with Gambling Insider which attempts to explain this in a bit more detail than I can on a short podcast. Otherwise, I'd be talking to you all day. Secondly, our managed services model, specifically sports trading and risk management. Like, we set an early objective for any sportsbook operator either launching sports for the first time or migrating an existing sportsbook to our platform to improve their sportsbook margin. And thankfully, all of our operators partnering with Pragmatic Play Sports to date have improved their sportsbook margin as a result. Look, again, in the interests of time, there's lots of variables that influence sportsbook margin, but we're on top of most of them. And betting data, official betting data is one of those. And then finally, the experience of the team, not just myself, and you give me a very polite intro at the start of the call, but the other guys that constitutes the leadership team, right? I personally think experience is overrated. Quite often during a recruitment process, I interview lots of experienced guys, but, rest assured, the guys working in our team have come through a pretty ruthless interview process, and those guys have got a lot of experience of working with prominent brands within sportsbook operations across multiple territories, right? And we look forward to bringing that know-how and that experience to the operators that partner with us. So in summary, relationships and accessibility to official betting data, our managed trading services, sportsbook trading and risk management, and finally the experience throughout the wider team when it comes to managed services.
So it sounds like, Gareth, with that, you would be as suitable for an operator who maybe already has a large casino business, is looking to add sports, but maybe internally doesn't have a big sports betting trading team in-house or even sportsbook knowledge in-house, but wants to add it as a product vertical. You can support them with all the trading functions and sort of the advisory service to go along with the product. But equally, with the experience you have, I imagine working with a large-scale sports-first operator, you're just as qualified, perhaps even more so in terms of the degree to which they can customize your product to suit their specific objectives and markets that they're targeting, and maybe marketing strategy for sports.
I think absolutely two examples of that. One of our existing operators has a very good pool of resource within their business to drive their sportsbook operations. So they take more control and influence over their strategy than some other operators would. And that's great. We call it a hybrid model. But you're absolutely right in terms of fully outsourced solution. Not only the provision of the platforms, but the know-how throughout our team. There is a potential partnership that I'm looking forward to announcing to the market over the coming weeks and months. I can't talk to you just yet, Ashley, but that fits that criteria, right? Launching sports betting for the first time. They've got a small pool of internal resource within their business, but they're asking us a lot of sensible questions on the step towards launching towards the back end of the year. So, watch this space.
If somebody wants to have a play at an example of one of your sports books that's in production out in the market, where might they go? Have you got any reference customers that somebody could test out the product?
Indeed. Let me give you two examples, two prominent but very different examples. The first, DAZN. And I'm going to try and explain the brand, because incredibly, when I use the word DAZN, not everyone understands who I'm talking about, right? But when I show them the brand logo, and maybe our editing team can flash over the DAZN logo as I'm talking through this. DAZN are essentially the Spotify or Netflix for sports. They stream live sports streaming content to a global audience across something like 125, 126 territories worldwide, right? And such is the ambition of Pragmatic Play, we chose DAZN to partner with as our first client. No mean feat, not only the size of the DAZN brand and their ambitions in terms of launching sports betting for the first time, but the markets that they were entering. We launched with DAZN Bet for the first time in Spain, which is a highly competitive and highly regulated market. Back in April 2023, we did Germany. And then more recently, July 24, we did the UK market, right? So why am I using DAZN? Apart from the fact they're a prominent brand, they were launching sports betting for the first time. They have entered highly competitive and highly regulated markets, Spain, Germany, UK. So if you've got listeners that are perhaps nervous about entering another regulated market, or even one of those three markets that I've mentioned there, rest assured you're in very safe hands through us. Using Spain as the example, I'm told, this is second-hand feedback, so removes any bias, but we had the product licensed and certified in record time prior to the launch in Spain a couple of years ago, and sometimes the barriers to enter a regulated market can be pretty daunting for the operator, right? So we attempt to help with that. So that's the first example, and anybody can visit DAZNBet.com. That's the UK brand, DAZNBet.es or DAZNBet.de.
DAZNBet.com or .es.
Correct.
And if you're outside the Spanish market, German market, or UK market, they might need a VPN to get there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Otherwise, my second example, I'm going to use QuinnBet. Super proud of this partnership that went live more recently. We launched the QuinnBet brand back in Feb, so 3 months ago now. Why am I proud of that partnership? Well, QuinnBet are a prominent horse racing and greyhounds brand. They operate in the UK and Irish market, where typically a third of sportsbook revenue comes from racing. And racing is a very complex product to deliver, right? Lots of different bet types and betting logic that doesn't exist across sports. And we had to deliver a market-leading racing product for a brand like QuinnBet to consider us. And 3 months in, we've had great feedback from the QuinnBet team themselves. But what makes me more proud is that some of the feedback coming through from other operators in the UK market that are congratulating us on the launch of QuinnBet, right? There's a lot of eyes on the QuinnBet product now as a result of our recent launch, and eyes on the horse racing and greyhounds product specifically. So we're very proud about that one.
Now, is there anything that since you've done a few migrations from previous operators operating on other sportsbook platforms to yours, is there anything statistically, anything quantifiable that you've seen in that transition? Was there an impact on revenue? Was impact on player value or player frequency of bet or bets per session or anything like that you could share?
There's lots of different KPIs that we scrutinize as a team, right? Far too many to mention on a short call like this. Like, ultimately, we're obsessed with sportsbook margin and core finance KPIs like turnover, actives, bets per active, spend per head, and so on. All of the KPIs that an operator is likely to obsess about. But I think going back to my previous points on optimizing sportsbook margin, that is quantifiable, right? Any operator migrating to our platform, we've got access to their historic sportsbook margins. And as I say, we set that as an immediate objective to increase that sportsbook margin from X to Y to Z. Now, I regret actually that too few operators place an emphasis on this, but it's very, very important. Like a 1% increase in sportsbook margin for many operators around the world is a big difference in actual revenue. Yeah. So we do obsess about margin optimization, and DAZNBet have been privy to that, right? Where we're leading a margin optimization project in conjunction with DAZNBet. I'm sure they won't mind me using them as a reference. So that would be one area. And some further feedback. We had a recent member join one of our trading and risk management teams recently from a very prominent sportsbook operation. I won't name who they are. I don't want to get in trouble with your legal team, Ashley, or my legal team, or perhaps the legal team of the operator, but they told me that we have... You can edit it out. We have a suite of reports that are more exhaustive than what he had access to in his previous role, right? So things like that make us proud and ultimately prove that marginal optimization is a pretty important concept for us.
And looking ahead, Gareth, what's the direction of travel?
Looking ahead, well, I'll start off by talking about product. Some of the exciting product initiatives we've got coming through the pipeline. Really excited about this one, and arguably closes our biggest product gap to date. We've got a market-leading esports product about to land. You will see the first title go live in a couple of weeks' time, and from July onwards, the second half of this year, we will expand on esports. Now, it takes me a lot to say that, Ashley, because I've been known through sportsbook industry circles as a bit of an esports skeptic, right? But I've learned that in certain regions around the world, esports really is a thing. It's just not taking off in certain territories like everyone across the market was saying it was going to 5, 6 or 7 years ago. So we're going to be proud of the new esports product that lands. And then a big initiative for us is to improve our range of player markets. Now, player markets, for your listeners, is the ability to bet on individual players to do something. It's seeing a massive growth in a territory like the US, where FanDuel tend to excel. You know, lots of these stat-based markets, like on football or soccer, depending on where your listener is, the ability to bet on that player's number of shots on goal, shots on target, number of passes, number of fouls. So we're definitely seeing a surge in betting activity on these types of markets, and a key objective for us is to increase our coverage across the wider sports like we have coverage on football. So we're very well covered on football, and there's some pretty exciting news to come through the second half of this year across other sports as well.
Awesome. Okay, so Gareth, recap. Pragmatic Play enters sports seriously. Great opportunity with great market distribution connections. So good relationships with operators, I'm sure, opened a lot of doors for you, but you put together a team, built a great product, with full control over the entire stack, and the ability to leverage build your own trading team and use official data with low latency, full rights under management by you guys. So what single customer can have a contract with you and have official rights aggregated through the platform. Managed services to do outsourced trading to you guys. And not just as an operational efficiency, but you're actually succeeding in getting an increased margin from operators that previously been doing that with either different trading teams or different technology involved. And esports coming and other market-specific product features. I mean, it's certainly a product worth looking at. And I think that's the key message here is that if you're on the market for sports, if you're looking to add a sports betting product, you certainly need to reach out to Gareth and the team at Pragmatic Play Sports. They'd find out more about you on the pragmaticplay.com website under the sports section there. They'll see you at any of the Pragmatic Play stands, at any of the conferences, either with the Pragmatic Play team or with the Pragmatic Sports team independently. Gareth, anything else you think people need to know about how to get a hold of you or why to get in touch?
Yeah, where to find us? Well, give me a follow on LinkedIn. I try and put out some personal content that's different to perhaps 90% of content that's on LinkedIn. Not to say that 90% is bad or boring, but I trust you'll find some of my posts entertaining at least. At least that's my ambition and objective. Please give Pragmatic Play Sports, our brand new LinkedIn channel, which launched back in Jan, a follow. I think at last count, we were approaching 1,000 followers. So if we get one objective from this podcast, actually we surged through 1,000, then it's time well spent. I think the core Pragmatic Play channel is over 80,000 followers, so we've got some way to go. So that's one other area. And see you on the road, right? I think I mentioned we're at nearly every single exhibition around the world now. We've done Rio back in Feb. We did Sao Paulo in April. Some of the team were in Colombia. A couple of weeks ago, I was in Fort Lauderdale last week, and we've got Peru coming up next month. And a show I think most listeners will be attending, actually, IGB in London in July, which offers operators and vendors the chance to visit London at a nicer time of the year, right? We're all used to going to
for
London
a change instead of freezing
in the winter. So
February.
yeah, come and say hello at our stand, please. And look, you can call me or come and visit me in Gibraltar. I've been here 16 years, so I'd be delighted to entertain you in the small rock of Gibraltar.
And try DAZNBet.com or QuinnBet.com for 2 high-profile sportsbook integrations from Pragmatic Play Sports. Gareth, thank you so much, and thank you for watching another episode of Connected. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're on YouTube and can do so you'll be notified of other great conversations we have with industry experts like Gareth. And thank you for watching. Have a great day.
Thank you, Ashley. Always a pleasure.